Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Center Stage Community Podcast, where we give the community the center stage. I'm your host, Justin McCall, with my co-host, Kimber Horton.
Hey, everybody. He let me come back again.
What is this, the fifth time?
Yeah.
Episode number 5. Can you believe it?
Episode 5. That's awesome.
I know. It's crazy.
And we actually have had listeners. Way to go, guys.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We talked about our schedule. We're booked out. We have more guests scheduled almost to August.
Yeah, mid-July. We have one more week available in July that we are looking for a guest for that particular one. But yeah, we are pretty much booked up through the summer until the start of school. Can you believe it?
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Also exciting that summer's here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let's do this.
Looking forward to it. So, Kimber, need to remind everybody that Center Stage Community Podcast is brought to you by InsureBoss, with 2 locations, one in Chelsea, right next door to the busiest place in all of Chelsea, the post office, and also right behind Harbor Coffee in Oologah by the name of Chalkline, and in Chelsea by the name of Route 66 Insurance. Remember that InsureBoss is insurance you need with the coverage that you expect. It's also brought to you by
Kimber Horton, Solid Rock Realtors, your favorite local trusted real estate advisor. I'm always so proud to be a part of this community and so excited to be on this podcast and get to be a part of this. I have the opportunity to serve families here in this community. I have homes that have listed and gone under contract, listed by families here, purchased by families here, and that's always a great feeling. So if you're looking for a new home to insure by InsureBoss, give me a call. Kimber Horton, 918-760-5203.
Absolutely. And Kimber, with you, I know it's true, because it's also true for us over at InsureBoss. We value being able to have the sell of the policy and be able to write, but we really value more the education process that our customers go through.
It's so important.
Yeah, either way, whether we write the policy or not, we want the customer to understand what they're buying, because number one, that's the most important thing. If you don't understand what you're buying, you probably shouldn't be buying it.
Let me tell you, can I just jump in on that comment? Because
Sure.
I took a phone call from a client that I am working with right now on the sale of their home in Claremore. And they actually called me, they texted me at like 9 p.m. last night, asking for help and guidance on the lender paperwork for the purchase of their home up north. And I have nothing to do with that home. They were already under contract on that home. But they called me for help last night because they did not understand their loan docs. Those loan documents, things didn't sound right, things didn't feel right, and they were asking for my advice, asking for just some guidance and direction. And my advice to them was that my recommendation is you should not sign this commitment. You're signing this commitment if you don't have peace of mind. So that education is so important. It's fun that you brought that up. We didn't plan that, but this just truly has happened in the last 24 hours. I spoke to those clients on my way here, and he let me know they did choose to not sign. They were on a deadline. It had to be signed last night, or they were not going to close on that home up north on Friday. And it was kind of like, well, guys, what's a 1 business day delay? Because when you sign this, you may be tied into something that you're not comfortable with. So you should always be working with a team, your insurance, your real estate agent, your lender, whoever you are working with. It might be the person you're buying a car from. You should feel comfortable in your decisions. They should be arming you with knowledge and education so that you can make what am I trying to say? Make educated decisions, and
Absolutely.
not. You should just feel good about that and know. So we are all about that here. Empowerment. There's so much power in education.
Yeah, the more you know, the better decisions that you can make.
Yes.
So, and that's extremely important in all aspects of life, but especially like you're talking about in real estate. Also, when you sign a piece of paper called your application for insurance, you are signing a contract saying that you are going to be obligated to do your part, and the insurance company will be obligated to do their part. It's important for you not only to know your part, but also for you to know the insurance company's part and what they say they're going to do, and what the details are and all that. So very good stuff. Very good stuff.
That is good stuff. So speaking about educating people, I'm excited to have our guest on today because I think he plays a role here that maybe a lot of people don't really know what that role entails. And so we are super excited for that to get exposed today, for you guys to get to know him just a little bit better. I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we move on to that, one real quick reminder, as we always tell people, make sure that you are looking for the merch site link. In the last episode, I kind of put it up here above our heads. We're probably going to do that again on this particular one. If you're listening via Apple Podcast, you can find it in the description of that particular episode, as well as on our YouTube channel. You're always going to be able to find it there, and we'll also post it on Facebook. I know that we said it, but we're going to get it out there so you guys can do that. You want to go ahead and get those shirts ordered, and anything else that you want to order on the merch site, because they do take a little bbit of time to get printed and sent out. We don't have them in stock. They are printed when you order them, and then they're shipped to you. So make sure you get those ordered as soon as you can. That way we're all ready to wear them to the 4th of July Spectacular.
4th of July will be here before we know it. It's
right?
the end of May. We're getting ready to go into Memorial Weekend, and then bam, it's the 4th.
I can't believe it. It's already here, it seems like. So, okay, well, today we have... Can you say government official, I guess, maybe?
I don't know if he wants to be called that, but yeah. I think he can take it.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes that's a dirty title. Yeah. I've been there. I have been there.
Not in this case. I wouldn't think so. But,
no.
But yeah. Guys, we are pleased to announce our guest today and present Kenny Wiest.
Thanks for coming on today, Kenny.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. I love what you guys are doing as far as the community and the outreach and just all these little facets of our community that nobody knows about, or it's just, like you said, the education part, just to be able to learn from all the different things that our community is doing.
Absolutely.
Really
we say we say you can't have community without communication.
That's
right?
correct.
And we need to have good communication.
Agreed.
I think you are one of the names in this town that people know, Kenny, but they don't know you, right? I was that way for a long time. I knew your name before I ever knew your face. And so I want folks to know today a little bit about you and your role. What does this mean? Kenny is our town administrator. I want people to understand what that means and what that is. And let's talk about where our town is going, because there's been some amazing energy behind just some awesome momentum in moving forward and a little bit of progress. Main Street, out on the edges of town, we're seeing some new houses, some old houses go away. And I want to shed some light on that today.
Well, like I said, thanks again. I know that when you talk to people about what the city does, and generally the water department is involved with that, they just see the big things, and really the backstory things of us trying to get things done is pretty interesting. But about myself,
yes.
Lifelong Chelsean.
I wondered if you were a little Chelsea
Dragon.
Alumni.
Yes, graduated in 1998, so you guys had Matt on last time. So
yes.
We graduated together, but have stayed in Chelsea all my life, haven't moved away. Got 3 boys, 2's in Chelsea schools. One's already graduated from Chelsea schools. So I'm kind of a lifer. Here, was raised, like I said, raised here, loved Chelsea. Got involved in local politics in 2002.
What led you to that?
Negativity.
Yeah. That's what led us here.
I love reading the newspapers, and I don't do it as much. I read local one, obviously, but I would read Tulsa World, Claremore Progress, Chelsea Reporter. I still read the Reporter, of course. Just everything was very negative coming out from city government. That sells, obviously, for media, and that's great. But it was just all these little things, and it's like, well, if you come to this community, how are you going to want to be here when it's just this negative?
Yes.
No one's working together, people suing these people, these groups, and so I just thought there was a seat open, someone had left. I put my letter in, and I did have some help to get on there because no one knew me.
Yeah.
And some of the people that did know me talked to some of the board members and said, hey, take a look at this kid. He was 22. But he might be worth it. So I did. I got appointed, and I ran for election to the council that next year in 2003, and won with 2 other people, and was appointed mayor then. So I've been on the board about 6 months, and then became mayor. So mayor without a city manager or town administrator, what I am. We all had to kind of do that role ourselves. And after I finished my 4-year term, I left and decided, was busy, wanted to do other things. And a few months later, that board came back and said, hey, we might think about filling this role that this town used to have.
Nice.
And because you know what you're doing, you know some things, you've got experience over the past 4 years, and we'd like for you to come back. And ever since 2007, I've had that position with the town
Nobody
of
else
Chelsea.
wants that. No, I'm just kidding.
Awesome.
No, it's because you're doing a great job at it.
I hope so. I mean, I know nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. I just try to be honest with my bosses, like I was talking to you earlier.
Yes.
It's an
elaborate.
interesting position to have because my bosses rotate every 2 years, sometimes even less if they don't finish a term. I get new board members. So, my responsibility is to them and the citizens of Chelsea.
And
the
that is
customers
hard.
of our
I mean,
water
we need to
department.
really, when new board members roll on, you don't know who you're getting. When I stepped into the school board scene, I didn't know what kind of atmosphere I was going to walk into. I'm super blessed to work with an amazing board, but as that rotates, that is a challenge.
Sure.
And I've seen that at county government level, and I mean, it is.
And they're
then,
probably thinking the same thing about you coming on.
Exactly.
What are we going to get?
Exactly.
With the new person.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, those board members that I've served with have been a true blessing. I mean, they have no compensation, and they take it out of their time to do those meetings and attend those events and do those things. And I try to help their job be as easy as possible. Talking about some of the other roles that I played, the town of Chelsea also has the water department, so we do water, wastewater. We do police, fire, library, street. I'm hopefully I'm not missing something. Animal shelter, so animal control with the police department. So those are the things that entails our livelihood.
And what is your role in that, Kenny?
Okay, so I
specifically?
essentially am the day-to-day operations boss. I just make sure that everything that needs to be get done. I write grants. I delegate a lot. That's what I tell my staff. That's one thing that they don't get enough credit for. You hear the I see them sitting down on the street corner not doing anything, or they're at the shop or sitting around. It's like you really have no idea. I've worked with all these people that are tremendous employees that I've had for a long time. I mean, I've got 2 employees that are in their, I'm trying to think, they're close to 70 or might be 70. They've been with the city for like 30 years.
Oh.
And they're just
Wow, yeah.
dedicated people, and they're some of my best employees. But I couldn't do it without them.
Yeah.
But essentially, I have to kind of make those decisions. My phone is working 24/7. I have to be available. Board members, employees, anything else that goes on.
And you do good with that. You juggle that well. I
I
have reached out to you myself because I am somebody I want to hear it from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
And so when I hear rumors of this or that or what's maybe going to be happening,
Sure.
I mean, I text you and you are great to respond and get back.
And that's one thing I've always tried to, my number's open. If someone comes to the office, hey, what's Kenny's number? Here's his cell. Call him, text him. I might not answer immediately, but I'm always going to get back with you. But it's one of those things to be open to the public, to be able to try to answer those questions. Obviously, verify rumors or truths. You get a lot of those. And we talked about some projects. We'll talk about some fun things. But that's kind of my role, is just that day-to-day delegation in emergencies. I know one of my better stories that I think about now that I probably would have never thought I'd be here talking about still being town manager was I was hired in 2007, and we had the big ice storm in December
Oh,
in 2007.
yeah. That's the year I moved here.
Wow, what a nightmare that was, trying to juggle, and my employees, and I had a couple board members that helped. It would be 2 and 3 in the morning, and we were up at for those 3 or 4 days, running out of water, trying to get power, helping people. And but when you all got done, and then the cleanup, of course, but when you got done, it was like, wow, how great it was that we all worked together.
Yes.
The local contractors came together, and we said, let's get this done, and let's get it done fast, and don't worry about, can this backhoe pick up this lady's tree blocking her car? Who cares? We'll forget about that. Let's just get that done. Let's move it. Let's get these people safe and that type of stuff. And that's our biggest role, is when crisis happen.
Yeah.
We've got to be there. So
I think that's something that makes our community specifically, stand out. Like Claremore just went through something similar. I got to see their light shine in that way. But like you said, you just there's certain things that go by the wayside and people come together. And that's something that our community, we are strong in that. I know that we talked about the negativity. You can see it on Facebook. You can be in the complaints group. You can read all the bad stuff that you want. You can create all the bad stuff that you want. But the truth is that these powerful things are happening behind the scenes. And they outshine the keyboard warriors and the negativity. They just really do.
You're exactly right. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about as we get farther along, was one of the main reasons I thought this would be fun to do, because not everybody comes to meetings. They're kind of boring at times and short and sometimes long, and you don't get everything you might want. But talk to those community leaders and ask them, hey, what's going on with this? What's going on with that? I try to tell everybody a plan, and that's the one thing about government I'm a very impatient person myself. And so many things move very slow, or you have to do them in steps. Let's get this done to move to this, to move to that.
Yeah,
So,
and just some breaking news before we move forward. We do have the mayor scheduled for mid-July.
Awesome.
So he is coming on. And
Super fun.
good.
So, yeah.
Good.
And
good.
that's what I'm excited for all of that. Our town is, like we said, we're doing some good things. We're getting ready to dive into that. And so to have these officials on, you can talk to these people. Our local government is your closest outreach to government. I said this at the county level when I was a big part of it. I don't serve at the county level now in the assessor's office, but your local municipalities right here in the city, county level, you feel like you maybe don't have a voice at state level. You do. I just called Rusty Cornwell the other day, and he called me back like immediately. That's impressive here in our, in our little northeast corner and in our districts. But these are the people that are tangible, real people right here that you can talk to. You can have their cell number. Tell me, Kenny, we want people to know when are the meetings? And people can just go if they want to be on an agenda to talk about something. How do they do that?
If meetings are second Tuesday of the month, sometimes we have them on the 4th of Tuesday, but not always. If there's no business, we cancel them. But there's always going to be second Tuesday of the month at 5:30 for water, wastewater, and community development, and then 6 for the town. If there's something that you want to put on the agenda or talk about, I need to know that before Monday we post. So that'd be 24 hours before. So I need to know Monday by 4 o'clock. We can talk about what you want to do. And sometimes some of those things don't even have to be brought to a meeting. Sometimes we try to deal with a lot of those things outside a meeting or fix problems. And that's part of my job too. Okay, what can we do? What's your problem? Let's see what we can help you with. Or you got an idea. Let's implement that. Or if we need the council's approval, we'll go to them and do that. So,
I love that.
Yeah. So it's our people shouldn't be afraid to come to us to ask questions, and no questions ever dumb or not,
Exactly.
because there's so many things that I don't know much about real estate, but I know a lot about city government. So if I ask you something, you might think, I know that off the hat. It's the same difference.
Right.
So it's not a dumb question. It's just we're not involved in those things. So, but if you have a question, come ask.
And
come ask the
for the
staff at
love
the
of all
office or
things
whatever.
good, come ask the
Yeah.
people that are doing it daily. Don't ask on Facebook. Like, man, oh man, oh man. If you need somebody's number, call mine.
You're going to
because
get a
I
lot
will
of
track the number
unsolicited
down.
advice
Yeah.
on
For
Facebook.
sure, for sure.
So I want to go into some of the great things that I see happening around
Okay.
here, elaborate on that. So one thing that excites me, because it is real estate, I'm, just soaking the real estate things. We have been seeing now for a little while, the town, I'm going to say the town because I believe there's municipalities grouped together that are working on this. So purchasing lots that have kind of these dilapidated rundown homes that are just at the end of their life. And our town is getting a facelift. So we're demoing these, we're building back. Talk a little bit about that.
It's one of the things I'm more proud of that's visual, and I'll talk about non-visual things later. But the visual thing is that we started a program of all these things were in ordinances, and which is our laws essentially, and of people mowing their yards. We don't have cars on blocks, those type of things. And I think there's a perception you move to a smaller town, you can do whatever you want, and you can in the rural areas, but not in town, because we do have rules, and we've kind of put a focus. CETA has kind of, which is the water side, my manager of that also. We put a focus on buying up properties and clearing those, raising those, and people they wasn't either there, or they had lost loved ones and didn't want it, or those type of things, but the homes weren't livable or fixable. That's what's been great about the new homes is CETA and both CMAs, which is Chelsea Medical and Chelsea Municipal and Chelsea Gas. We formed a conglomerate about 3 years ago to build spec homes to sell. And we built 3, and they both sold. All 3 of them sold. And so we're kind of setting back because now we see the momentum of the other builders outside of us coming. And that was the deal. Hey, let us show you, because Chelsea, real estate, they're kind of
well, and it is. And it's like if you would have said to a builder, "Hey, I want you to come buy this lot on the corner of Vine and whatever or Bond Edition."
Yeah.
We want you to come buy this lot. And we want you to build a spec home.
Yeah.
You would have probably got laughed out of their office. So I love that you paved the way and said, "Let's do this."
We had to get some momentum on that side to say, "Look, we can show you 3 that sold." And
because there's a market for it here.
And now you find those lots and they're available. So I know our Prairie Ridge edition, that's south of town. Now there's 3 builders out there.
Yeah, I just got to sell one of those homes in there for Trailblazer Homes.
Yes.
Jason Pepper. It was an amazing job.
And 3 builders now building out there. And then we also, probably a little too early to talk about, but we're in the works for a 36-acre housing development.
Oh,
Wow.
exciting.
That's awesome.
Close to Chelsea. So
That's
it's-
exciting.
And
That's
that
awesome.
because that's what we see as a future for Chelsea is
Yeah.
we need to get more housetops in Chelsea, which that'll keep the businesses that are here.
That's right.
And then grow those businesses, and other businesses will come.
That's
So
exciting.
That's the exciting part, because that's the see thing. You said you see it,
Right.
those old homes going away, new homes being built back, and it gives you a cleaner feel. And the neighbors are happy. I mean,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, that helps us. And
Yeah.
we've still got a long way to go, but I know that we've made huge progress there. And like I said, I know of 2 more homes that are getting ready to go up in town, and they'll be spec homes. So the momentum is carrying right there. But we had record building permits over the past 4 years in Chelsea.
That's
That's
a big
awesome.
statement.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
That's a
is.
big
That's awesome.
statement.
Yeah.
People think about our town, and I feel like there's been a stigma for a long time that it's this stagnant tumbleweed rolling across the street on Main Street. But we've watched Main Street have a facelift. Businesses come in here. We've watched this growth happen, and these are the visual things, but those are the ones that give you the feel goods. You know, you could be doing great things behind the scenes, but people don't see them. It's just, it doesn't get the honor that it deserves. But these are good things. And then, like you said, you're leading the way. We've got more builders coming in. We get more rooftops here. That just changes the financial scene. We get businesses coming in. We've got more families that come support. That's so exciting to me.
It is. It's great.
It's a love language for me. I'm like, ooh.
It's one of the things that I look back over my tenure, but it's one of the things I think I'm going to be more proud of is getting those homes, getting those people to Chelsea, because I know how much those businesses. I mean, you guys have your business here, so you're taking the risk in a small town, and the more people, the more opportunity you have to serve them. But like you talked about Main Street, Chelsea Municipal Authority, they have paved the way for the business side. So we're the authority of the town. We're proud to work with them. And CEDA's kind of went on the property side. Chelsea Gas is getting ready to invest in some, they own the Napa now. They're getting ready to invest. They own the county property where the county barn used to be. So they're getting ready to do some investment there.
Good.
And Chelsea Medical Authority, they support more of the outdoor activities. They were partners on the house deal. So hopefully there's just really so much going on, but the housing is really fun. And that's why I'm trying to, because Prairie Ridge, it's not got, I think it's like 30 lots left. And so we want to have something in place next for the next round once those are full to be able to go, okay, here's
where we
another
gonna go?
option. These lots are going to be a little bigger, we think. And it's kind of a rural setting, but it's so close to Chelsea, it's going to affect us greatly.
That's
So,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Talking about development and things like that, I am dying to hear from you what is going on the acreage outside on the edge of town. I forget if that's a 15-acre tract. They're across from Pets First Clinic, which, by the way, is getting ready to have their grand opening. They just built a new clinic. So excited. Congratulations, Dr. Browse. But talk to us a little bit about what's going to go on there. I know the town has chattered for a long time. There's survey stakes. There's been lots of things. Spill the deets.
Yes, we are getting closer to making that look like it's going to be that commercial development that we've been talking about for years. Like I talked about, the 4 authorities, the 2 CMAs, CEDA and Chelsea Gas, they have partnered up, and we went in as partners to there. Right now, we're just waiting on some county documents through the DA, some memorandum of understanding. You probably remember all that.
All the things.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And then the county will
Steps.
come in and start those roads. We'll come in and do the utilities afterwards. Gas line's already been moved. We've got water and wastewater to the lot. We just got to fill it out. I've got some grant money setting aside. Then we'll kind of divvy in for the part. And then we're going to sell those commercial lots. So we're going to hopefully get just to have that availability. We lost a business a couple years ago because we couldn't find a place to build it. We just didn't have the land. And we're a little landlocked on the highway because you have all the utilities that run right behind, so they're not very deep. And you got railroad track on the other side, so a lot of them are like, I don't want to go on that. I don't want to be on the highway. So we've dealt with that. But and we still might get that business, but we just don't have it now. And so that was kind of hey, guys, let's do that. I had talked to the owners before. Their father had passed away, and it was zoned agricultural, and I was just in fear of a pig farm or something going there. And I thought, you're in the intersection right between 2 major highways.
Yeah.
Let's do something. So we approached the other groups, and they're like, let's do it. So we went into partners, and that's kind of what we're waiting. So it's just a waiting game right now. And then we'll start working with people that I'm trying to think of the word. people that will bring in businesses like CETA through Claremore we're going to work with, and they have marketers that they use to try to solicit businesses for towns our size. I mean, we know we can't get everything big, but we're trying to get that. And it'll be a mixed use also. There could be some living space in there too if they want to build multi-level, kind of like Main Street or something like that. So essentially there'll be lots, and there'll be a street, 2 streets through the middle, and they'll connect on 28 and 66. So that's the Downs development. It's what we call it, because Downs was the last name. So we haven't named it yet, but that's just kind of waiting on government. And
is there like a time frame that you're looking at? Or?
I don't know. I would think as soon as the county could get started, then we'll come in with utilities.
So who do we need to call? I mean, I'm just kidding.
No, he's working hard. I know that one of my employees had just talked to Danny. He's like, we're working on that.
I was going to say, our District 1, we are Chelsea, Oklahoma. We are Danny Delozer, District 1.
And the county has been great to work with, too. They don't probably get mentioned enough either as far as the connection with the town and us. But, the streets, the equipment we can use from them, and the help that they give us is immense, and that never gets any credit.
Right, and I was going to mention that. You mentioned working with CETA and Claremore, and I am so proud of the council and the groups that we have at the helm right now for being humble enough to reach out. You have to be willing to do that to see growth, to work with the county and build that good relationship. Same thing to the county guys. I mean, Danny takes pride in that, having good relationships. Sure. He's been, I've been proud to have him as my, I just went blank, my commissioner. Sorry, my words were gone. But those relationships are so big, and they don't get enough credit. And it takes a village. And so I love that we have enough vision right now. We have minds that are open enough to reach out and talk to these other municipalities that are doing good things.
Well, and we don't, I don't want to reinvent the wheel, but, it's not like we have every idea. I'll never say that. So, I mean, people have done things before, and it's how'd you do that?
Yeah.
What, or what, when you done it, what would you not do
right,
again,
that's such a good
differently?
question.
That way I don't waste a lot of time or make mistakes. And that's always key to those things, and to reaching out. It takes some humility, and obviously not everybody wants to do that, but it's like, I can't do this, or I need some help. What can you do for me? And we do that with a lot of partners, especially when it comes to money and financing and getting grant money. I mean, I have such a good network of people that I could reach out and go, here's what I need. What do you got? Throw me a direction.
Yeah.
Let me do something.
I make those calls too, and you have to be humble enough to say, look, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's out there. I mean, that's been calls I've made. I don't know what's out there or how I can do this, but I know it's possible. So tell me what you know.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So how do you feel like you'll see yourself in this position for, you don't have any plans of stepping down. You're going to ride this wave out. You want to see these developments come together?
If the board has me, as long as they will, I do want to see a lot of these projects. Especially with the housing, some infrastructure work we've done at the water plant. I'm so proud of that we're getting ready to do, and that's the stuff nobody sees.
And talk about that, because you mentioned that there's we see the feel good pretties on the outside, but talk a little bit about that backside that no one sees the work that's going in there.
I know when I got on the board how bad it had become infrastructure wise, whether it was just wastewater lines, manholes overflowing, sewage on the ground, water leaks. We got problems at the plant. We need this, we need that. And it's just kind of was piecemealed together at the time. And, that was a thing that I came and focused on. Okay, let's find some grant money. Let's ask these partners. Cherokee Nation's another one that's been just super wonderful.
Yes, we're excited to have some of them on too.
And to reach out to them to try to improve some of those infrastructure, because we were never going to have growth if we didn't fix that first. And if we did have growth, we were going to be in big trouble because we just couldn't handle it. So right now, I know when I got on the council, we were talking about building a wastewater facility or something to prevent any, essentially what they would call the fun talk about water discharge into creeks. So we want to be total retention. That started in 2002. We finally got that completed this year. And we were able to do that with all grant money.
That's fantastic.
$0 coming out from our customers that had to be, it was all grants through so many different people, Water Resources Board, Cherokee Nation, obviously the ARPA funds. So that was $3.3 million.
Wow. Yeah.
And but also now will benefit 2 large farms, which would be Mr. Parks and Mr. Bible, because now they will have those nutrients. That's the big pivots you see going out 20.
Oh,
And if
I
you've
gotcha.
seen those
Nice.
on the east side.
The more you know.
Well, and you know, we got a lot of flack in the regional area through DEQ, and that's Department of Environmental Quality. You know, we turned down $2 million in 2008 for a wastewater, and that was when everyone called it Obama money, if you remember, after that depression. That money was given out, and we were having to build this monstrosity thing that we, according to the DEQ, that we had to build, and there was no other options. And so finally, I remember George Kelton was on the board. I remember our attorney, me, and somebody else went to Oklahoma City and had a meeting, and we were like, hey, there's got to be another plan, because we might have got $2 million in free money, but it was still going to cost us another $3 or $4 million to build this thing,
Sure.
plus operation costs. And they said, well, no, there's some other options. And I handed them a letter, and I said, well, it says right here that there was no other options. And I think we just got new leadership there.
Yeah.
So they were able to help. You know, we turned that money down and just kind of waited and got new plans. And it did cost a little money to engineer this stuff, but we saved the town millions of dollars.
That's such a big statement.
And it was something that we set back and go, hate to give the money back, but you knew in the future, you know, we just had to kind of battle and say, okay, you know, we can't do this as a community. Let's step back, DEQ. We know we want to help. We want to be good partners with you. We want to be environmentally friendly, but give us another way.
Yeah.
And some of these other things had come up, and we got that. And then it worked out. We've got this grant money, and we were just so blessed to be able as a community to get that from our partners. And then at the water plant, we've got 2 big infrastructure projects going right now, a new clear well and a new clarifier, which essentially clarifier cleans your water, clear well holds your water.
Okay.
So now we're going to have more storage. You've lived here, so you've known a couple times we've ran out of water, whether it was through extreme drought or extreme cold, freezing conditions, and with pipes bursting and everything. And we supply alloy and a little bit for maize, and you know, we need that extra holding time. So
Those are big things.
Yeah, they are.
and that's it's about $2 million that we're spent. It's 2.2 or 2.3, and you know, out of that money, we're looking at getting about 1.5 million in grant.
Yeah. Well, if
fantastic.
we're gonna add businesses and homes, I mean, we have to have the capacity for growth.
That's exactly
this is a
right.
huge step in
That's
that
exactly
direction.
right. We had it was funny. We had one of the bond councils working on this for us on the project, and it was some loans through this and that. Anyway, some legal jargon, and he had called one of the staff members, and he said, "I'm looking at your last year data and your this year data as far as water taps," and he's like, "There's a big discrepancy there," and he said, or maybe it was a couple of years, and she said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, there's like over 100. It's 100 difference." And it's like, that's because how much we've got new customers just in the last couple of years.
That's a big deal.
Yes, and we have to plan for that.
Yeah.
And for that and everything that goes along with it. Same for fire, same for police, same for all that. So, and then that's some of the stuff that's very boring to people.
It
you know?
is, but it's
but
not.
you don't see it, but
Yeah.
you sure know it. You know,
Yeah.
we want that water to come out as clean as can be,
Yeah.
and when it comes out of your taps, and we want it to be there, and we don't want to have any worries in those peak times.
Right.
or
Well,
emergency
and that's
times.
what those things we talked about, the pretties and the fun stuff you see outside, but those things are so important. And we, you know, I'm just somebody, I love to champion for our town. I love to talk about the growth. I love sharing visions that our school district has for us and for our kids. And things like this that are the uglies behind the scenes are so vital. And
Sure.
we just, you know, nobody likes to talk about that, but it is. It's super important.
It's kind of boring to most, you know.
We all have our
But
weird
that's-
languages
but
that we
that's-
love to speak.
But you know, that's kind of my thing. I mean, it's, you know, that's always something to talk about, that and this. And
Somebody's
really,
got to geek out on that stuff, or we
right.
wouldn't have what we have. Well, I'm glad it's you. I've been so excited about this. Is there anything that you wanted to share about the town that I didn't get to ask about? Did you come here with the anticipation of sharing anything that I failed to touch on?
Not really.
I feel like you're a wealth of knowledge.
You know, just some future things to look at. You know, we're touching on taking the Chelsea Fire Department and making a fire district rather than a town of Chelsea district. I think that's important for the growth as well. The town right now, financially, is that end of the business as fire business is very expensive, and we still run on all medicals, which you know, I have a wonderful chief of fire, and Samson busts his tail, and all those other guys are volunteers, but you know, they're working their tails off. Some of the, and I'm proud to say this year was our first year that I know that town of Chelsea did have a full paid firefighter, and that's obviously the chief, and he deserves it. But we're looking at doing a fire district there, which would envelop rural and indoor Chelsea, and also in the event of that, then we're also right after that we're looking at a big park and recreation project.
Exciting.
We talked a little bit
I've
about
heard a lot of chatter of desire.
Yes, and I think that's important. We talk about what Chelsea really needs is we need rooftops and we need people, but by gosh, you got to give them something to come to also. You know, and I think that I'm excited. You talked about the school district, and I'm excited the direction the school is going, and I think that the town has got that momentum as well. And so to get those people in here, but let's give them something to do. So we're looking at our park committee put together about a $1.5 million park project, and that includes Chelsea Lake as well for outdoor recreation.
Nice.
And so it's the financing right now that's kind of holding this back because it would be a bond issue, be voted on by the people. But we're kind of wanting to clear up this penny tax that we have now. We did whittle that down. It was supposed to pay off in 2036. Now it's 2029. So we were able to have that money set aside and pay down. And also we went to essentially a regular loan versus a bond issue, and we're going to whittle that time frame down.
Nice.
With a fire district, that money might disappear early and we'll get to go to vote early. So that's kind of the steps we're working on there. But we're talking, splash pads and a new big toy and, we're talking, fishing docks and disc golf is a big thing. That will go out at the lake. And
awesome.
So all those things and the walking trail, the Milam's and his volunteers have already started the walking trails out there. So that'll be part of it. And we're going to do some signage. So I'm excited about that. So the way of life, the way of living in Chelsea, that's the other important project I kind of want to see through, because we got the retail, we got housing, and then we've got the quality of life.
This is so important, you saying all this stuff, because I don't think people in the community hear this enough. Somebody's saying it, that they care about that, and they're taking practical steps and have vision to make things like this happen.
It's just so slow,
awesome.
though. I think that's frustrating.
That's the hardest part. But
and because
things take time.
Especially with these things, we want to plan that to when the stage is right. We go this, and then we go this direction, and we go that direction, and we have to make sure all that financial stuff all fits into that one big pie of everybody. And we want people to feel comfortable about it.
I'm so excited to hear these plans because that is just something that people want. People want something for their kids to do, something to do with their kids. So those are big fun plans. I didn't know that was under
And we've got a mock-up video. We just haven't released it yet because there's some tweaking to do to that. And then we'll bring that back to the community, too, and do some public hearings, and we'll get their input. Did we miss something? Is there something bigger you'd like to add? Because there's room available in McSpadden Park to do some other things that we haven't added. And so that's the exciting part, to get the community involved, too. And
I'm going to share back to our community with that statement. We all like to have our opinions and when we have these thoughts, but you know what? They can't get implemented if you don't attend these meetings. When they move into that time frame with this, it's going to be so important for the community to show up. If you don't show up, it doesn't count. Your thoughts and your things don't count. They don't come to fruition. So, you have leaders here that are open and ready and willing to hear your input. So just letting you know ahead of time, it's so important to show up. And Kenny mentioned a little bit of bond issue, wrapping up this 1 cent, this penny tax right now. And I've talked about, I'm like the weirdo that property tax is my love language because I did that for over a decade. In our Chelsea community, we have the lowest tax rate in Rogers County. And so as we talk about bond issues, we're not talking about, immediately people get up in arms, and I understand it. We get up in arms about property taxes going up. There's a lot of ins and outs, and I could really talk to you about how to not be so afraid of that. But we're just talking about trying to bring our community from subpar to equal. We're not trying to surpass people. We're just, our tax rate and the support that pours into our things, our park and recreation, our schools, our different things, our tax rate is down here, you guys. And so as we talk about passing these bond issues, don't be offended. It's hard to say get excited, but because I get it. But we're just trying to get where we're equal. There's so many big things down the pike, and it's going to take a little bit of give from our taxpayers and volunteers. And you know what? Show up and go serve on a committee. I showed up to go to a meeting one time, ended up on the chamber,
I do remember that.
Yeah, and I think I went to your meeting, just to listen. Ended up going to the chamber to hear. Walked away. I was like, going to serve for a 3-year seat, I think. So it's just this is there's big exciting times. This is your time to shine as a community. Our time to shine as a community member. You have so much opportunity to get in there and do and have a voice. So there's just I'm really pumped about.
And you talk about tax.
Coming.
That's one thing a lot of people don't know in the state of Oklahoma. We're one of the few left remaining that city municipalities and town municipalities get no revenue from property taxes. So all of our revenue comes in for miscellaneous charges, but mainly sales tax. So anybody that can shop local, that's, you see communities preach shop local as much as you can, and support those local businesses that those people live here and they shop local too. And that money keeps turning and turning. And that's what's important for that retail development, and also for Main Street to get those businesses in that are supporting your community and also giving some sales tax dollars.
Yeah, so important. And that's when people see those bond issues and we have to vote to renew. It's a pivotal thing there.
Well, and some of that, a lot of that money when you pay your taxes every year, there's not a lot that's going right back to you in your community.
Right.
As you say, it's one of the lower tax base. Yeah. I mean, obviously your schools are so important, your county operations. Oh, yeah. But hey, give a little, boy, that sure makes a lot when you add every littles together.
Yeah, so true.
And you could make big improvements and big things, move forward with your community. And that's what I'm excited. It's probably the most excited I've been, because at times you get things in your mind and you're going and it's like, oh, setback. And then you go and setback. But right now, over the past 2 or 3 years, nothing is slowing down. It might be crawling at times, but you're never going backwards. And that's what we say. We got to keep the momentum going. Hence, like the land. That we've got a lot of land available, but we want to have a plan when that's out. Let's have another development. What are you doing to bring people close to your community or in your community and improving it? So
it's so exciting. Well, I want to give a quick shout out because Kenny has his own podcast.
I do. Yes.
Let's do that.
It's called Sports Allegedly, and me and a buddy of mine started that last year, and we are sports fanatics. So if you get a chance, listen. Sometimes it's not as clean as this one, I can say, as far as language, because we get after each other pretty good on our opinions. But we have a blast, and that's probably the one thing outside of city stuff that people don't know is I'm just a huge sports junkie when it comes to that. I mean, every sport possible.
That's awesome.
I just love it, and it's kind of my big pastime. So if you're talking about community events, that's a good thing to get out and attend and talk to people at sporting events. It's one of the things that, you can have jamboree and those other things like that. But sporting events, there's some idle time. There's kind of people sitting there. Yeah. Maybe their kid's not batting or they're on the bench and the other kid, and you could talk to those people and reach out to them. It's always fun at sporting events, especially the football games and stuff I go to.
It is.
People will reach out and go, hey, what are you doing there? Or what about this? Or here's what I'm hearing, and that type of thing. And so it's always, that's what I've always tried to get out. Because I'm so busy at times, I don't feel like I always get out in the public as much. But 918-894-9825 is my cell phone number.
There it is.
And
there you go.
You can reach out to me anytime that you need to, and be happy to answer any questions, meet with you, however you want to do it. So I'm always available. So
great.
I'm going to call it and check it, make sure that he gave you the real number.
I did turn it on silent.
Well, thanks for coming to our hot seat. We laughed and said that he is in the hot seat 24/7 all the time. His phone rings. He hardly ever turns it off. And but we are so grateful to have this kind of vision at the helm of our town. And thank you so much for taking the time to come here and to share with the directions that we're going.
Had a blast. Thank you all for thinking of me, and thank you all for allowing me to talk and hopefully people, like you said, the communication and the learning. And some people are like, oh, I didn't know they do that, or I didn't know he done that, or whatever. But anyway, appreciate you guys. I love what you're doing, though. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Because the listeners will get up there. It's eventual. You're new, but it's something that not everybody touches on as far as community outreach. Yeah. And it's all about us.
Yeah.
It's all about us here.
That's what we're your local kids here, and we're just here to grow that. Well, and sure, boss, this has been an awesome one. This has been good.
Yeah, it has, Kimber. And Kenny, like she said, just thank you so much for coming on, bringing your insight, and I believe this is going to be great for the community. They're going to learn a whole lot, and listening to the last 40 minutes or so. So we really appreciate that very much.
Anytime.
Yeah. And remember, guys, Center Stage Community Podcast is where we give the community the center stage.
That's a wrap.